Okay, we're ready to go?
We're ready to go.
All right, we're gonna call the meeting to order at 7:01. We'll start with the roll call.
Okay, Mary Ann Banks. Natalie Drosnin,
Here.
Andrew Grove,
Here.
Pat King,
Here.
Tom Langston, Amanda Rost,
Here.
Tom Sufchuk,
Here.
Mike Wallen,
Here.
and that's it.
Okay, we're gonna look at the meeting minutes are in your packet from the December 18th, 2024 minutes. Do we have a motion to approve those? And a second?
A second.
Great, and all in favor of approving the minutes? Anyone opposed? Right, the meeting minutes from last month are approved. We now have citizens' comments. It looks like we have no one in person and one person online. So person online, if you're here to make a citizen's comment, you have 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, and you need to state your name and address for the record. If you're here just to listen, that's fine. Also, we just want to give you the option to talk if you have something to say.
So if you would like to talk, use the raise hand feature at the bottom of the I don't know, toolbar, whatever we call that at the bottom there. And the chair would recognize you.
Okay, we're gonna assume you're here to listen unless we see something otherwise. Okay, we'll move on to the chairperson's report. I don't have a specific report. Craig Grella is our commissioner for the next item. He just assumed does not have a report. He's not here either. Staff liaison reports.
And got one on the park side in your packet there. Obviously, everything is frozen, so we're not digging holes anytime soon for signs and everything throughout the community. So we'll revisit that when we can physically do so. Over on just kind of the housekeeping stuff that starts up the year, the mowing flower bed contracts that are all throughout the community that cover your parks mowing, traffic islands, planter beds, washing, streetscape beds up here, which is new for this year. We opened all them this past December 19th and all combined under 7 different contracts. We're a good chunk under our operating budget, which is always good. We don't need to do any audibles or anything like that. So that will include kind of everything you're used to seeing being maintained throughout the municipality. Always fun, portable restrooms. That agreement's done and ready to roll. I did get in touch with soccer. There was a little miscommunication last year and 2 of them showed up over at Bradfordton. We're just gonna go with 1. So that's all wrapped up. And that references the field schedule and when things start back up. So we like to have them in place, at least a week before we start seeing programming there. The one funding level of the bottle filler / bubbler combos was approved for funding. Those are already ordered. So anywhere where you see an old brick water fountain with the bubbler on it that sometimes the kids unscrew and there's a geyser, those will be all replaced with the same model that's over at Clearview if you're walking through there. We had no problems with it all year. And it seems to be a pretty solid unit. So those will make a change across the entire park system. Over at Maine, just got some hardware and stuff to revamp the swings that we do every year. Not the best time to do that, but we'll get that before parks are booming again. Over at Country Club, had a little bit of storm damage. Large tree came down through a big section of fencing. Luckily, no one's playing basketball right now. So we'll get the fencing squared away. Might go through insurance, might not, depending on dollar amount there. Williamsburg Highland Terrace Fall Zones, last night commission approved that project. So those materials were ordered today. And that'll be a combo project. Public Works will take care of the site work. Then the surfacing company comes in, puts the fall mats underneath, synthetic turf product on top. Has 10-year warranty. It's been great at Church Place and Main Park so far. That will reduce a ton of maintenance over at Williamsburg. If you ever rent that pavilion and it storms, you're usually shoveling all the mulch back out from the playground up in the hill that washed down to it. So kind of saves on everything. That playground mulch isn't free, so we can kind of chip back at some of our operating budget and efficiencies there. Spring tree order, other things that require digging in the frozen ground. So we are going to finalize that order and that ships out. We plant street trees, park trees, both in the fall and spring. So we'll focus on over at Williamsburg. There was some oaks suggested, some other clusters, also a couple trees that did not do well. The deer shredded the vinyl trunk guards. They shredded the metal trunk guards, and we have gone with clear tubing. Compliments of Parks Conservancy and Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy, who dropped off a bunch with the tree program you guys did. So those will hold up well. And nothing on the fields. They are covered with snow.
Okay, from the recreation side, the rink chiller repairs are nearing completion. They were delayed though because some of the damage to one of the compressors was more extensive than we had expected, so they had to order more parts, which were of course delayed. I believe they are getting delivered tomorrow. We'll see, but we're getting close. The recreation staff did a podcast in conjunction with the Public Information Office on some of our winter programming. And that's scheduled to be aired this Friday, January 17th. The rec department is also in the process of converting all of our vending machines and all our facilities to cashless payments. So you'll be able to take credit, debit cards, the Connect Card app, and Apple and Google Pay. So no more cash. We'll be putting out some messaging once we have a firm date when those machines are going to be delivered and converted over. And lastly, we have the Springfield meeting on January 21.
Subcommittee reports, pickleball. Don't know if there's much pickleball being played in the
Not
snow.
much pickleballing playing, and I drove by it last night and drove by it again this evening on the way over. Phil and I was wondering, the lights are all on, I know those are on a timer, I don't know. For security, if they need to be left on, or if it's easy to like adjust the timer this time of year or something, just so we're not.
One is digital, one's analog. So you'll never see, I guess in a perfect storm, both courts go off simultaneously. Funding for the third phase of Meadowcroft was approved.
Yeah.
So that includes lighting upgrades, which will tie that in, and we'll remove the dinosaur lighting controller, and go full digital there, probably work both of them into one.
Yeah.
Is that your concern, the
Well,
difference that, because I've got one.
No, my life is not nearly that precise. No, I just noticed it was like 6:45 and they were on, because I think they're timed at 9 o'clock or 9:30 or whatever it is. And I'm wondering if it would be a big deal to adjust that. It's not, I mean, it's
Well,
not,
it's snow covered, you mean?
yeah, or well, it's just, so cold.
Oh,
It's not a big deal. I don't know, it's not gonna save much money. But I just wondered.
I think for the last 9 years, we haven't really had a winter till now. And so on any given January night, it could be 45 or 50 degrees and the kids are playing basketball. I'm basing this on leaving the rec center, but on any given evening, they could be playing basketball, and I'm sure the same is true at Meadowcroft. It's just this cold snap has been so out of the ordinary.
Long.
Yeah, like snow on the ground and cold temperatures for prolonged period of time. We haven't had that in a long time. So I think it'd probably be a bit of a hassle to go over, turn them off for a week, and it's warm next week, and you go back and turn them back on. I think maybe if this is gonna continue for like a month, we might wanna reevaluate that, but I mean, we know the kids like to play and it would be difficult to,
Does anyone ever shovel those
Walk
courts to
back and
keep playing? Or no?
I don't think so. I've not seen that. But anytime it's not snow covered and it's even remotely warm,
There's people out there.
they're playing hoops. I don't know about pickleball. They seem to not like it below 40, 45 degrees. But that's my observation.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I was just curious. I didn't know if you had, you know,
It does look a
visual
little,
control from your desk. You could like say it's.
Yeah.
We have some of that.
Let's turn them off, but it's not a big deal.
that would be the best. It is sort of odd to see, you know, the winter wonderland and the lights on a court. It is, it's unusual. When I noticed the same thing in Main Park, but I have to remind myself that hasn't happened in a long
I
time.
mean, to have like 3 weeks of continually
Yeah.
like under freezing temperatures, couldn't tell you the last time it happened. It's been a long time. Okay, we'll move on to the Arboretum Subcommittee. Does that have anything to report also with the weather? Not sure there's much news there.
We actually, for the county, we got news, the same funding that we got for all the trees may not come back, but we're still pursuing free trees for next year. It just might come in a different route. So I'll update everyone, and there may be another round of free trees that could come to the township.
Cool. Great. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on then to old business, McNeely Park update. Do we know where anything stands with the commission with that? I know they asked for the updated pricing. Has anything else happened?
Yeah, outside of that memo that was shared, I haven't heard any additional updates. So I can try to see if anything new is available. I mean, Gateway was working on some of those unknowns in their, you know, sanitary sewer work, easements from adjacent property owners, things like that. So I can check and see if there's anything new to report.
Okay, the next step
Is
is
it actually approved?
No, it was just a cost update was provided. And there's a lot, and it was very, very high, if you recall. And there were just some other potential obstacles there that had to be.
It's not a 25, it's not on the agenda. to be
No,
done. Yeah,
no, no,
Gotcha,
no.
gotcha, yeah.
During the Christmas break, I actually went over there for the first time in a number of years with a dog, and I was reminded what a major cut and fill operation that would be, to level it, unfortunately. The trails, such as they are, in very bad shape. I got lost a couple times, but it's hard to get lost in a big square, so obviously made my way out. The Conservancy wishes we had the person power to do a little work over there, but we don't. Our hands full with the existing 3 passive use parks, so anyhow, it was interesting to see it. And somebody had a deer blind up there. I couldn't tell whether I was on the high school property or in the park property, but it was up in a tree.
Colors or?
I don't know.
It wasn't a
Nobody tried it.
private citizen,
Nobody was up there at the moment.
probably colors maybe.
I couldn't say, do they call
They
from
call over
elevated stands?
McNeely,
Yeah.
Did it look like it was homemade or?
It looked like there was, not a hunter, but it looked like one you see advertised.
Oh, okay. I mean, anything's
Well,
possible. I don't know.
I was just noticed it.
okay. The next topic is the Youth Sports Organization Oversight Umbrella Organization, which is kind of a new updated title. I don't have any updates on that. We need to continue to try to get some people together and talk that through in the new year here and try to get things moving in the right direction, but no specific updates for now. Proposal to rename Middlefield. I have not heard anything from Tom. Do you know anything about where that is?
No, he gave a brief update at the last meeting and said a proposal might be coming forward, but, no.
Okay, so I don't know that we have any updates there either. Then the last one is the concept to combine the new recreation center with the new stadium. Have you had any talks with anybody about that?
yeah, the last conversations were December. Communications with Commissioner Grella on a potential January exploratory meeting, but I don't think that's been set. We're in the middle of the month, so it was just it was just talk at that time. Nothing has been finalized, nothing's been said. I haven't heard anything since then. And I haven't heard anything from, the school district either. So I don't know what their interest level is at this point. Unless you've heard anything more, I haven't, that's about all
Yeah,
I
I don't know
know.
anything about their,
Have
any
you heard
additional
anything
plans.
more?
I have not. Amanda, I know you missed last month. Pat shared with us some conceptual drawings. They're dropped in the folder on
Okay.
the SharePoint site. I don't know if you had a chance
No,
to
I
see
didn't
them.
look at those, but I will go look at them.
Okay.
And those conceptual drawings came for the state, were for the stadium or for the rec center?
Stadium.
Okay.
From the school district from last year.
Okay. And then where's the rec center on the, whatever committee is doing whatever exploratory thing for that design?
We have a draft final report. Probably came right before the holidays. I know I have not had time to read it. I mean, just swamped. I'm gonna guess that Ian, who's the lead on this for the municipality, also hasn't had time, but I don't know. Ian is just had a new son or daughter,
Daughter.
new baby. And he's not back in the office yet, as far as I know. So I know there's a lot going on, but the report, I think, is essentially done.
Okay, and it includes just like proposed plans for what the an updated rec center at that site would look like.
Yeah, it had like 3 levels of improvement. The first 2, like ABC, the first 2 were different tiers within the existing rec center, you know, one with a slight expansion. And then the third one, which was the highest cost, was it had a separate building adjacent to it. So those concepts were shared with the commission, but you know, we need an official final report to see if we're gonna pursue any of those.
And it becomes an official final report, is that something that could be shared with this?
Oh, absolutely. It'll be posted on the website, and I will probably put a copy in our SharePoint site as well. But
Do they
yes.
have a timing for when it would be finalized?
I mean, my assumption is the draft was shared with us, so that we could provide some feedback before it was finalized. And just speaking for myself, I know I have not provided any feedback. I just haven't had time to dig into that right now.
I think, we do have some expertise on this board, and I don't know if it would be a breach of protocol, but I think we'd certainly be happy to take an unofficial look at the draft report and provide comments to you, David, if that would assist in moving things forward.
Yeah, I can, I'll check in and see where they are with that.
And they're settled on, it's going to be in the park in the current location, at least the draft version that you're talking about is current location, upgrade existing, upgrade expand.
Yep.
Existing location. They're no longer looking at locations.
They weren't looking anywhere outside of Main Park.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I think that probably does that. I think it's a matter of getting that report and the concepts from the school district and putting kind of the right people in the same room, seeing if there's some way to, even if it's just looking at parking between the 2 facilities, you know, or shared issues, I think that could go a long way in trying to, you know, what issues does each project have, and can the other one help solve some of those?
Well, if they don't talk, then it's
Yeah.
not gonna, you know, right now there's really any discussion.
Yeah, they gotta get in the same room. And the school district should take a look at that report as well when it comes out to see what's there. And it's just getting everybody in the same room.
I don't know whether anyone has a sense of where the stadium rehab is in the school district's priority, given their budget position. I don't know if it's a someday project or they're looking at it for the next CIP or what.
Can't speak for them, but it's a more of a longer term, couple years out. It's my understanding. You're right, they're under budget pressure.
But I think they know it's a long-term
Nothing that
issue
they're
they
looking
can't
at.
ignore either.
Yeah,
Nothing they're
yeah.
looking at for the 26 or 7 that I'm aware of. So,
Either way, it'd be foolish not to coordinate and
yeah.
look for opportunities to, get some synergy.
I don't think one is moving any faster than the other between the two sites. So I think there's
I think
time to,
the Parks
there's still
Master Plan is
time to get them
moving
in.
faster. They have their act together more quickly, is my understanding and my observation.
I mean, I don't know a lot about the schools project, but I know we had, our plan was probably nearing completion before I ever heard of the school district project, but
Right.
I don't
The
know.
Parks
when.
Master Plan, you mean?
Well, the main park, master plan, let's call it, the
Mhm.
Parks Master Plan is done.
Right.
So
Mhm.
ours was nearing completion by the time I had heard about the stadium.
Mhm.
And frankly, even when the report comes out, I mean, I'm sure we're at least a few years out as well.
That's what I meant by the timing wise. I mean, nothing's happening in the next 2 years or 18 months at
No,
least.
not
Either
unless
project, so
there's
there's plenty of
something
time.
sudden.
And no plan is set in stone. No, neither site has a specific, drawings ready to go and it's a matter of funding. It's not even that. They're both on pretty early stages and there's still plenty of time and room for collaboration. It's from my understanding at least. Okay, moving on from that, is there any other new business to bring up?
Not for this evening, but maybe for the next meeting. I think we talked a meeting or so ago about brainstorming for projects or activities of either this committee or potential capital projects that we'd like to see move forward, or I don't have anything specific, but vaguely recall some discussion along those lines. And February, it's, early enough to have some impact if there's an it to have an impact with.
I was just gonna look at the, sort of that master schedule, for the boards. If I can just,
Your budget input was kind of rushed our first year through, if you remember.
Right,
It was like,
right.
welcome to the board. What do you want to do? You
Right.
have
So maybe that is a good idea and start with like sort of not looking at the list. Let's brainstorm some ideas that are not on the list or may be on the list, but we just are gonna have a discussion about and then add to the list anything that comes out of that and then work on the list.
CIP requests are May, just so you know, so you do have some time. And actually, I was thinking about, an item that's gonna be a lot earlier than that. Is, in March, there should be a report to the planner on comp plan goals accomplished in the prior year. And I think, maybe for next month, Phil and I can put together a list from our perspective. I'll do rec and you do parks and we'll have a document for you. I don't know that this board has done anything outside of what we would know about, so we could put the list together and just share it as a report and get your feedback. Without looking at the comp plan, I'm wondering if the Arbor Day event could dovetail into that, if the pickleball subcommittee could support, some of those comp plan objectives that we could note in that report. I just have to refresh myself on the
Yeah.
comp plan goals to see what aligns with that report. So that's coming up. April is the new member orientation, which we will have probably a couple new members in April. It's also the reorganization meeting, so officers review subcommittees and that's the April meeting.
Okay.
And then we're in May with the CIP and then June with the budget request. So those are the big items that hit, so March through June. So
March was kind of comp plan.
Yeah, there's, the work
Redo.
plan is in there too. I might have glossed over that. That's also April. If you'll recall, we did a work plan last year, so that's in
The work.
either a work plan folder or the meeting folder that aligned with that. I can't remember where I put it on the SharePoint site. If it's not in a work plan folder, I'll probably pull it out and start a work plan folder just because it's gonna get lost and I think in a meeting folder somewhere.
Okay.
And so that would be the basis, I think, to start, the next year's work plan, look at that and then tweak that.
So I think for February, we could add an item to the agenda of a brainstorming session if anybody has ideas for any larger, large or small projects
Yeah.
that they would like to see done in the community, and then we can add that to our list and prioritize when the time comes. It sounds like a good project for February, and there's not a lot of parks being used, if there's still this much snow and cold.
A helpful thing is to look through the parks master plan, as a guide for some of those items. There's over 200 individual projects named, called out. Not that new things aren't welcome, but when you jump on a plan that's been paid for and developed, and you show interest in that sometimes can hold a little bit more weight, when budget time comes and, sometimes if you look in the budget, there's little pictures that denote things, and there's a parks master plan stamp that as commission scans through, they say, oh, this is master plan, this is master plan. And you start knocking stuff off and you're in the right direction, so.
No, that makes perfect sense. I wasn't even thinking necessarily of, new capital projects or shiny new stuff.
Yeah.
Things that are sort of buried in our psyche that would be
Yeah.
nice to focus on.
I'll send an email out next week to the group and just kind of tell everybody that that's our plan for February, so they can take a look at the plan and maybe come with some ideas of things that may or may not be on our list. And again, I think it's better not to look at the list per se, but the parks plan is a great place to go
Yeah.
and try to get some ideas and not, you don't want to reinvent the wheel, but you also want to keep your mind open to some
Right.
things you might not be thinking about, so.
Well, in the Parks and Rec Drive, there's a folder titled Parks Master Plan, and there's also one titled Projects List, so you can view them in the order that is best for you.
For your brain.
Yes, whatever works best for you.
Yeah,
The project list, is that the 200 or so that Phil's referencing?
The projects list folder is going to be the approved or recommended projects from
that's more our list.
24. Yeah, that's your
That's
list.
the list that we started with and kind of debated over who should be, what order it should be. in.
Yeah. And
A lot of those are on the Parks Master Plan also.
also you're gonna want to check out last month's newly funded projects that we shared also, because some of these are off the list because they got funded this year. There was a lot of funding for 2025, so a lot has come off.
That's in the folder too?
Yeah, we shared
Look at that
that
and the drawings.
last month. That is actually in the meeting folder
Okay,
from last month.
perfect. Missed it.
I had a copy with me.
Like the 200 you're talking about is in the parks master plan.
I'll pull that out of there and put it in as a quick reference sheet.
Oh, that's
Let me do that.
If you go to the Parks Master Plan folder in the Parks and Rec Drive, there are two things. There's the full plan in a PDF. And then there is an Excel sheet that
That's the one.
summarizes all of the recommendations as budget, prices, target, timeline. That's a real, quick reference.
Does that have the stamp that you referenced, or would it be in that Excel sheet where that stamp?
Yes, yeah, anything pulled from there, if we stick it into operating or capital, it kind of gets that stamp to say, hey, this is a, project that was,
This has already been thought out and thought of by the people that we
It'll be
paid
in
to
the
think.
Excel sheet.
oh, yeah, the Excel sheet in that folder.
You lost me on the stamp, Phil. What's the
Little
stamp?
pictures that Andrew puts on the bottom of the budget if it relates back to a certain plan. our process.
I don't think that's in the spreadsheet.
No, but that
That's in the
spreadsheet,
Parks master.
anything
plan.
off of that would get us.
Oh, in the CIP.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, there's also the comp plan, which, you know, obviously builds off of other studies like the Parks master plan, but and that's what we need to report on for March is goals or projects accomplished from the comp plan, but there'll be a lot of overlap there. But you might, in the comp plan, there was just a short PDF for Parks and Rec. I think it's in your onboarding folder, actually. Really taxing my brain here. I think it might have been part of your onboarding materials. I'd have to go in and verify that, but, let's see.
You know, there was a parks section of the comp plan. I remember reading it.
In the Drive, Parks and Rec, onboarding folder, there's a PDF titled Ascend Lebo Parks and Rec. That is the Parks and Rec recommendations from the comp plan, and it's short and sweet. It's like just a few pages. So you might want to look at that as well. I know everything's everywhere, but I don't know one good filing system to, you know, decide what folder goes
It's all
where.
well labeled, it's not like you can't find it.
Yeah, and it's, our files are fairly short at this point. We don't have volumes, so. we're
The
okay.
share drive or whatever we're calling it is a godsend. Flip someplace.
Yeah, I agree. It's been real helpful, to me as well. Then you're not like trying to share things over and over and over. Everybody can go back and reference. Yep.
Okay, well, I'll send out a reminder email to everybody to dig around in those files and look for some ideas. And we can bring those up in the meeting. We'll set out some time to do that in February. And any other new business? It looks like we have a new, I don't know, a new listener. If there, during citizens' comments, we didn't have any, but if anybody, you can raise your hand and we can go back to that if needed, but I think you're just listening. Okay, well then the next meeting is Wednesday, February 19th, 2025 at 7 p.m. And as usual, it'll be in person and Zoom is available for anybody who can attend virtually. So with that, do we have a motion to adjourn? I will just adjourn, I guess. That's what I normally do, isn't it? It's 7:34. It was a quick one.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.